throughout our really great tradition of scriptures and Zen writings, there's this very clear, explicit theme of urgency that's woven through so many parts of the literature and what we do. And it's a life and death urgency. And I think the chant that captures it the most powerfully is the closing chant that we do during our sessions. And let me offer it to you right now. Let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. Each of us must strive to awaken. Awaken. Take heed. Do not squander this precious life. It's all right there. It's all right there. And as I was reflecting on this, I thought it was a little bit amazing that there are so few nightmare koans. There are a couple that I could name, and I will. But it's remarkable in this tradition that where everything is really expressed in terms of the importance and the urgency of this life-death movement that we're called to, that there aren't more of these nightmare koans. You've heard of all of them already. I'll just name them and quickly introduce them. There's one called Kyogen's Man in a Tree. So this is a situation where a guy is hanging by his mouth, can't reach any of the limbs, he can't swing himself to the trunk, and someone comes with a life-death question about, it's posed in the traditional language of why did Buddha come to the East? And if he fulfills that, he drops to his death because he has to use his mouth. If not, he's stuck up in a tree. So if you think of it as a nightmare, I mean, this is nightmare stuff. The other one that you know is the koan that invites us to walk off the top of a 100-foot pole. Again, if you've had nightmares, you know this is the territory of nightmares. And then the other one, which doesn't affect us directly, but something that we might treasure, is Nansen's cat, where he's holding up the cat and he's threatening, do something or I'm going to kill the cat. And this is a nightmare that actually it gets played out where the cat gets killed. There's some adjacent koans that are in this tradition of nightmarish. The one you've heard me tell now and again of the monk who is facing a samurai who says, I could kill you in the blink of the eye. And the monk responds, well, do you know, I'm somebody that can be killed in the blink of an eye. Or that other one of the guy hanging on a cliff with a lion on the top and a lion on the bottom. So all of these koans are trying to capture this untenable place, this place that we are stuck in, but we have to move. And moving all of the options of moving don't look like a possibility, nor staying where we are. So all of these koans, however, in some ways point to this untenable position, and perhaps these many crises that are present in this practice of Zen. One thought is that because we have the the study that we do progressively, that the crisis isn't felt as dramatically as it might, but all of what we do is taking this backward step, looking at ourselves, being present to our life as it is, inevitably brings us to a crisis. Now, it might be sudden, or it might be gradual, but that's the reality. I sometimes think that when we get new people, there should be a little bit of a disclaimer. This practice may lead you into a crisis, but better for them to find that out gradually. The reflection that I had on this recently was grounded in a quote that I heard from E. Cummings. So when we ask, what is at the heart of the crisis? I think it's all summed up beautifully in this line from Cummings. To be nobody but yourself in a world doing its best night and day to make you into everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting. That's what this is about. How do we become ourselves in a world, in a life that's doing its best night and day to make us into somebody else? This is the existential crisis of Zen, and it's the arc of the journey to our authentic self that we're talking about, our original self. So I ask you just to move with me a little on this. What's this thing of being ourself? What does it feel like? What does it look like? So if you're anything like me, I suspect some of the first answers that might come to mind might be having this very solid ability to hold my ground. The ability to fight for what is mine, what I believe, what I stand for. An ability to really not get caught up in what other people think about me. And I think there might even be a profound feeling in moments of this, of strength and being safe and maybe even feeling a little bit different. Yet this version, this particular way of experiencing being ourselves is a trap. It's a terrible trap. Why? Because that type of being yourself was defined from the outside in. It's defined in terms of me in opposition to others. I can hold my ground. I can defend what I need to do or what I feel is important. I block myself off from being worried about what the heck you think. Some of that is not bad stuff, but it's a definition of our uniqueness based in opposition to others. And at its core, it's defensive, and at its worst, it's narcissistic. So this is just another version. That version of being yourself is another version of what Cummings is saying, because that's the popular notion of what it is to be yourself, where like you could hold your ground, you reveling in your uniqueness, you're defending what's important to you, and that's just being like everybody else. An example of this, and Suzuki Roshi pointed to it in my generation, the hippie generation, those were young people, and I was part of it, that defined themselves by opposing what the culture had to do and to say. I did it by taking a spiritual path. I think there was a little bit of rebellion there, since my parents weren't religious at all. So there may have been a little bit of that put me on my path, but it was defensive. I was looking to be myself, but I had to do it initially from a position of opposition. So all of this is the realm of the small self, of Dogen's gain and fame self. And Zen has a different perspective, of course. And that's a self that has its uniqueness. Pardon me, here we're in low power mode. The uniqueness that's defined from the inside out, not the outside in. It's a uniqueness grounded in an experience that's not defensive, not self-serving, certainly not narcissistic. And it's not about a belief or a position that we desperately hold. It's direct experience, as you know. It's that core experience of our awakened self, which is so difficult to describe, but we all know it when we get a glimpse, and it's solid. It's us being us without doing it in opposition to others. But it's also a self that is unique and paradoxical, that's based in an experience, a direct experience of being one with all others, all sentient beings, the animal world, the mineral world, the universe. So our true self is, when experienced this way, doesn't have all of that nervousness that is around the defensive version of self. But it's grounded, it's alive, it's flexible. There might even be a joy in it, even when things are not optimal. So this is the nightmare. This is the crisis. And what makes it hard is we have to see that our old ways of living in the world are not really helpful. We have to get intimate with the way our discriminatory, protective, gaining and faming mind operates. And that we have to take a look at our self-serving. We have to see the ways that we're deluding ourselves, the ways that we're numbing ourselves to all of this. And then we have to let go of it. We have to let go of decades of ways that we've learned to operate in the world and to orient ourselves in the world. And the very way that we look at the world. So, if you're not in nightmare territory now, stay tuned, it'll come. Or perhaps it will come or has come and is continuing to come very gently. Not in the tidal waves that knock you to your feet, but it'll come. Particularly if we're doing our practices. And the good news here is that when we do encounter it from the inside out, and this is a big difference, what comes with it is resources. Resources come from the depth of ourselves and from the depth of our interconnection, seeing things that would be helpful that we might have lost if we were in this narrow way of looking at the world and being in the world. So this is a battle of a lifetime, and it's a battle for a lifetime. It never ends, I suspect. And it's the most urgent task we have. This is life and death stuff. This is the battle. And it's a battle that we avoid at our own risk, believe me. So, let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. Each of us must strive to awaken. Awaken. Take heed. Do not squander your life.